the housing information that we have been having, we have been using estimates derived from the market, and we have been giving you indications or giving the market indications on the current deficit, which is basically reflected by the presence of slums in our country. That's on housing. What we did in the last 3 years, we have been planning with the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics to do a detailed housing survey, which has just been completed, or rather it was completed in November last year. And currently the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics is working on analyzing the data, which will be coming out. The data collected from the National Housing Survey will actually give us the true status of housing in the country. And this includes housing in urban areas, also in rural areas, and in all our urban areas in the country. It covered the whole country except 3 counties which had security challenges at the time we were doing the survey, and we are going to be completing it in due course once that is done. So that is how the survey and the data collection and the data management that we are going to establish, which the market is going to have access to. The last time that the government did a housing survey was in the 70s, in 1977 specifically, and it was a sample-based survey. It was not a detailed and a complete survey in all parts of the country. So it was, but it was a credible survey, which we have been using the information and sort of growing them with the trends that we are determining from the national census year to year, and that's how we have been managing to derive certain trends. Yeah, the government, you see, is leading on the policy and guiding, helping the sector understand where the constraints are, where the constraints that requires the participation of various stakeholders, government, constraints that require participation of individuals, constraints that require community participation, constraints that require investment market, constraints that require finance market, and constraints that require various inputs. Without well-analyzed and scientifically derived data, it is very difficult for these sectors, or rather the various stakeholders, to actually determine their level of participation, commit resources, assess their risk, and be able to participate. And that is why it is necessary to get a well-derived information on the housing sector. The purpose is to inform the market on the true level of the housing sector. Determine again on issues of income, because it also has a way of getting to know what kind of household income has been dedicated into housing, so that investors can know the areas in which to invest. This is going to be baseline data, which will be accessible for purposes of analyzing the various needs of the various stakeholders that will be participating. We expect this report to be released by 31st March of this year. The gap that is estimated, and as I said, it is estimated from just preliminary information that we had about the housing sector up to now, is about 200,000 housing units in the urban areas per annum, and 350,000 housing units per annum in the rural areas. So this is a big gap in housing, or rather this is a big demand in housing. That is the demand. The gap is what is not supplied when at the end of every year, and we are seeing the supply gap in the urban areas particularly at 100,000 housing units per annum. Those are estimates which I have just said that we are going to be confirming using the data from the housing survey, and we are going to verify this and confirm the true position. This figure might change either way. What the government has done in the past is to support the private sector to put resources into housing, and particularly on measures towards channeling resources to low-cost housing. So there are incentives. One, there are incentives on savings savings for mortgage in order to purchase a house. There is a tax exemption on interest earning and on savings that you are going to use to purchase housing, as a way of catalyzing the demand side of housing. On the supply side, there are a number of tax-related incentives or fiscal incentives, which developers and owners of own houses actually benefit from. One is in the past, dwelling houses have been classified in our tax system as an industrial building, so that they can benefit from the industrial building allowance. And this is now available for housing. There are other incentives on construction of more than 20 houses by various by either in one individual scheme that will target the low income. It has mechanics on what that means. Houses should not be less than 3 square meters in space, and they should not be sold at more than 2.1 million shillings into the market. And the return to the investor should not exceed 30% above the cost of construction. So all those, once you fit in that, you get an incentive on rebate on VAT on all services and materials and inputs that you put into the house. So there are quite a number of incentives already going on, and we have a number of others which we have discussing with the Ministry of Finance on how to make it easier for people to invest in housing.